Hi gang, and welcome back to the extremely infrequent series known as the Squatcast, and we've got a bumper Squatcast for today. We have a new moon buggy, some new exosuits, a bit more information on the old exosuits, and some really fun conversions to talk about, so see you in a sec. Yes, it's been a busy couple of weeks for the world of squats, the only part of 40k that still matters. And I've been a bit remiss because last week I was away, so I missed the launch of the new exo-armor. But with the older exo-armor, medium exo-armor, going to pre-order this week, there's been a load of extra stuff coming out and we've got new models. So let's get into it with the Sagitaur ATV. Here we go. So, put the pedal to the metal aboard the rugged Leagues of Votan Sagitaur ATV. So this is just out today as I'm recording this, 18th of July. Here we go. It's a little moon buggy. Look at that. It's a little moon buggy. Yeah. This is... was I expecting this? I mean, this is definitely the most new direction I've seen for a while. This little beetly bug thing. It's fun, isn't it? Let's read. The psychiatric mannerism that's shattered the galaxy has even harmed the mighty leagues of Votan. With holds swallowed up and trade routes severed, the kin have been forced to establish new footholds beyond galactic core, sending forth expeditions of brave Hearthkin warriors, exo-armored Einhyr Hearthguard, we'll get to those in a second, and redoubtable vehicles like the Sagitaur. Designed for surveying inhospitable alien terrain, the Sagitaurs are rapid response ATVs suited to scouting operations and lightning-fast armoured offensives, that's not a word you hear next to squats very often, alongside Hearthkin pioneers. Its armoured carapace is durable enough to shrug off anything from rock slides to plasma blasts, making it an ideal spearhead for any League-sponsored colonisation effort. The Hearthkin pioneers are the bikers, the hover bikes. Sagitaurs usually operate in pairs, they're remarkably heavily armed, nose-mounted twin bolt cannon complemented by a swiveling turret weapon such as a high-las beam cannon, L7 missile launcher, and an matter autocannon. Yeah, once they're right up in the enemy lines, they disgorge their ornery cargo, a full squad of infantry, so it's a transport vehicle. Which can be split between two vehicles, so it's like a transport vehicle squad. Interesting. And there are more vehicles to come, so this is fun, isn't it? It's a moon buggy, is what it is. And that makes sense, because they were like meant to be the first colonists to leave Terra, or early colonists to leave Terra. So maybe they've got this like almost modern looking moon truck. I like the sort of double tired wheels. I get the impression those are going to be used a lot on those floaty trikes to make them into non-floaty trikes. But otherwise, yeah, it's interesting. It's hard to get an idea of scale, isn't it? I mean, that driver looks pretty large, and we know they're probably about the size of we know what the size of Necromunda squats are. In fact, that's the other bit of news. I've got some squats. I've got some actual squats. Sorry, I should have said that at the start. Some have arrived. They went to Bobbie first so she could do an on-the-screw review. Now they are with me. Anyway, these aren't too big. We know what the size of a squat is, and you'll be seeing a few more later, and we know what the size of a carriage one is, so that makes it quite a little buggy. Maybe I'm gonna guess it's like the size of like any of the other buggies, like the what's the Gene Stealer Cult buggy called? The size of that thing. So yeah, this isn't a huge vehicle. But yeah, there's not a lot to say about it when you think of like the old range, because well, squats didn't have them back then. They used old squats had rhinos and land raiders and things like that. Anyway, it makes reference to a few other things here, and this is the thing I missed last week, the Einhyr Hearthguard. So let's have a look at this. This is from a week ago. Actually, Jesus, it's from a little more than a week ago. When it comes to protecting their all-important ancestor cores, the Leagues of Votan demand no less than the very best weapons and armor around. The honored warriors who wield them are true elites, wading into battle clad in servo-assisted exo-armor, carrying a name that commands respect from all kin, the Einhyr Hearthguard. So, Einhyr knew, but Hearthguard were always the sort of bodyguard of the warlord in the old squat army. And they were usually the ones who wore the exo armor, so no difference there. But this exo armor looks pretty different, doesn't it? Yeah, I like the sort of markings there. They're quite fun. Dumpy. but crucially lacking a bit of egg-botness. It's interesting. We'll get back to the design on those in a second. Let's read the rest. Selected from the most accomplished fighters in a kinhold, the Einhyr Hearthguard, that's not easy to say, is it? Have many roles, from bodyguards to deadly first strike troops. Each Hearthguard has proved themselves over many years of frontline combat, ascending purely by the virtue of their deeds, just as the staunch meritocracy of the leagues requires. Like the Hearthkin warriors, Hearthguard are dependable fighters, but their experience and inch-thick battle plating take the kin's natural durability to a whole new level. They aren't all taking no give. They're equipped with a vulcanite disintegrator, which, you know, looks like Volkite. Makes sense. And a shoulder-mounted grenade launcher and a little horsey guy. They use ancient technologies to increase the mass of their fists as they swing. Okay, so they've got concussion gauntlets, which are power fists. Yeah, okay, and big hammers. Yeah, so while I am a bit of a fan of this cute little buggy, these... I'm not so sure. I mean, there's a few things people have been talking about here. Obviously, we've mentioned this before, but they're meant to be using old STT tech. So the comparison to the Vansar in terms of like layered armor and that sort of like more modern, less gothic look is obvious because their technology is meant to come from the same place. And I've seen a few people also compare them to these guys, which are Mantic Warpath Enforcers, which are okay. I mean, I tend to find Mantic models have very shallow detail, and these obviously aren't quite as clearly armored, I suppose, as these guys. But yeah, I can see it's these shoulder pads, isn't it? And I mean, I get it. These shoulder pads are the things I don't particularly like either. This sort of ablative armor look to them. The whole like it looks like panels added on to absorb blows, which seems to be not that high tech when these medic guys are meant to be really, really high tech. The thing actually that weirdly these reminded me of is this, which is a sketch of a sort of Terminator armor that many people have decided is called Saturnine, but we have no evidence that it is. This is from a Horus Heresy book where Vulcan invents a new Terminator armor. Some people have decided that since there are mentions of a thing called Saturnine Terminator armor, that it must be this. But anyway, this used to have an old model, an early prototype Terminator model looked like this. I think Midwinter Minis had built some a while ago and then auctioned them off. But yeah, there's something about the sort of layered armor here, and I think they have a similar spine to this. Where's the spine? It's down here somewhere. There it is. They've got that similar sort of spine to this. I don't know why that really reminded me of this. But yeah, so these are our new exo-squats. We've already seen an exo-squat for Necromunda, and that one looks a bit more like the original. That looks actually. This is the other thing it reminded me of. Right, this the bolt cannon really reminded me of this guy, the Castellax. Anyway, I was looking for a little squat. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, so we've already... it's a bit of a departure, isn't it? It's a bit of a departure from this. I like the little eggy guys, but I get it. They're probably going to change them for the new version. I get it. These do look more like an actual 40k unit that might function and whose legs actually move. But... yeah, the shoulder pads aren't doing it for me. I think I would probably want them in their little hats, possibly sealed, and possibly with some shoulder pads more reminiscent of these guys. I wonder if something like Cataphractii pads from Heresy might work really well for that. Like, just to give them that sort of a round egg with some... I don't know. I'm going to say a round egg with some blocky shoulder pads, but that's what this is. I don't know. I am not as enthused about these guys as I was about the other sort of exo-armor. And handily, though, Games Workshop have done a third article in the last couple of weeks comparing the two. So, can the Vartiyan Nexo Driller match the awesome technology of the Leagues of Vortan? So, this was the Necromunda exo-squats. This is the brute for Necromunda, basically. Gone on to pre-order today. I'm ordering one. At least. And here they are. They've done a comparison. The squats aren't the only game in town these days. The recently recontacted leagues of Votann have some pretty mighty tech of their own. So how do the squat mining clans stack up against the elite of their star-born cousins? Let's start with the Einhyr Hearthguard, who also wear suits of powerful exo-armor, albeit a more refined nature. Can the industrious ironheads of Necromunda stand up to the ancient technology of the leagues of Votann? Nothing deals not like a power fist. We basically go through here, and the result for all of them is they're a draw. They're just as good as each other, which is a bit weird, right? Because that's on a 60 mil. That's like way bigger. Like, I would like to just use the Vartiyan ones as my exo-squats, but they're not the same thing, right? This one's way larger, and this one's way smaller, because that's probably a 40 mil base. So I'm a bit surprised as to why everything's a draw, but fine. The weapons, the squats have regular Imperial weapons like claws and flamers, whereas the Vartiyan have like ancient Volkite. The armor is both apparently extremely fancy. The Einhyr Hearthguard's armor is made from ultra-dense materials attached to a complex servo-assistive frame, allowing the wearer to shrug off anti-tank weaponry while retaining full freedom of movement and even auto-stabilizing their aim while they return fire. Whereas I think the Necromunda guy is just a guy in lots of metal. The Exo-Driller, meanwhile, throws subtlety to the wind and bolts thick slabs of plating onto its massive mechanical form. Its sheer bulk is enough to turn aside all but the most dangerous of weapons, leaving the squat insider free to worry about more important things, like whether to crush, burn, or blow apart the foolish gangers in their way. So that's a draw as well. And speed. No one's expecting either of these powerhouses to keep up with a Goliath Mauler, that's the crazy bike, or a rumbling battle tank over open ground. What's more important is that they're fast enough. Yeah, no, they're both slow and steady. Interesting. And they both have complex well, the Exo-Vartiyan ones have complex suites of sensor equipment. Sorry, the Exo-Drillers. Is that right? Yeah. Have complex suites of sensor equipment. And the Einhyr have some horsey things, which we don't know what they do yet. Right, so the general hit is they're apparently the same, despite one looking a bit more like a diving bell and the other one looking way more advanced. Yeah, I mean, it's just a fluff piece for the new release, isn't it? I'm not as sold on these guys. If they turn out to be vaguely similar, I might use bits of one on the other or something like that. I prefer the Necromunda ones, but we'll see what happens. You know what it is? Their legs here, they look a bit jumpy, don't they? Anyway, there was one other thing I wanted to show you. I have received my squats, as I said earlier, but I'm not the only one who has. Gary, who does the Tale of Four Gamers, has also received his squats, and he's had quite a lot of fun with them. Let's have a look at this. Here are Gary's squats. This is a bit of a co-production, this. So he's obviously taken some reference here from Radio Spaceman, if anyone remembers that. It is... Hold on, I'll find it. It is... this Dark Horse classic, Radio Spaceman, and got himself into a little project, really. His squad are ancient ancestor Votann on the planet Necromunda. Something's gone wrong with the Votann clone scheme laboratories. The return of the UNLiving Ancestors. So these are Games Workshop squats, and then we printed in clear resin some little domes for them. It took a few goes to get the right size, so I printed him some domes, and then he turned them upside down, fit a little repainted skull into them, and then filled that dome with clear pouring resin, and then hand cured it with a UV torch, resulting in these, and then did lots and lots and lots of polishing, resulting in these little guys, which look brilliant. Look at, oh God, I keep pressing the wrong button on Instagram. There you go. These guys, look at that. These are fantastic. So this is Gary's new Ironhead Squat Ancestor Gang, based of course on that. And they're lovely. They're really, really nice. If you want to find out how he made them and exactly what he did to cure all that resin and make it as clear as it appears here, then if you go to Forgotten by the Gods on Instagram, you can see his process. But yeah, that's a lovely idea. I really like it. When we were playing with them, there was loads of other options for domed helmets, and we were coming up with all other ideas, because basically they're wearing little stumpy spacesuits, and as soon as you put a big diving bell or space helmet on them, there's loads of things you could do. Monkeys in helmets was the other thing we thought might be really good. You get a good like Mojo Jojo out of that maybe. But yeah, I really like them. They're really lovely. Anyway, enough. We're probably at about 20 minutes. That is the new Squat releases and some releases from a few weeks ago. We have a moon buggy, we have some exo-armor that, not sure, and we have the Vartian being released finally. So, yeah. I will endeavour to make my squat updates a bit more timely next time. So see you next time on the next great episode of the Squatcast. Bye.